Welcome to the Socially Inept Thoughts channel. My name is Clint. This channel is designed to provide value to not only younger men, but just anyone in general. To find value in just a legitimate different perspective from a real person that has no incentive to persuade you, sell you anything. If you guys find value in this, please like, please comment, please subscribe. It really helped the channel. I love what the progress this channel is making. So yeah, without further ado, let's get this started. If you look somewhere long enough, you will find the problem you want to find and look for. We live in this obsession culture, and I really think dating per se, even though I don't date per se because one, I have a girlfriend, but even when I didn't have a girlfriend, even at times in my life where I'm not with someone, I never really date like that. I don't go on a bunch of dates. I don't go on a date with a girl unless it's already pretty like, yeah, we're pretty good together. I'm not a believer in just blindly hanging out with someone that you haven't built any type of connection with just because they may look nice or you have a good conversation with them. Like, I don't believe just going somewhere to eat, just going to do X, Y, and Z is really how you really get to know someone like that, per se. And I think it feels so artificial, it feels so unnatural. And we live in a very artificial world. Not to get all Barbie in this bitch, but a lot of people, I've realized in the current landscape with the obsession with men versus women. And I don't want everything on this channel to be about men and female attraction and all that stuff. But we do have an unhealthy obsession with impressing the opposite sex. And we do, as guys, we have an obsession to either be viewed as a person you cannot shake, that you cannot hurt, or to be a quote-unquote victim when women, ghost you or treat you, and then you blame women are like this, and then you blame, oh, I did everything right. And the problem is everything is so artificial that y'all seek what you get. Honestly, if you have a dating app right now, you should absolutely delete that shit. Look, I've used dating apps before. I used Tinder during the prime, right? I didn't really hook up like that. I actually met girls that I was actually at least somewhat with in a capacity, because I never paid for the premium version. But chronically being on that stuff, all it does is it gives people a false sense that they're more valuable to the world than they are. A lot of people, if it wasn't for an algorithm pushing them, they would not get the attention. Real life application versus online dating is not the same. I think I'm someone like, look, I'm out of nature, man. I'm a natural guy, man. I work hard. I just came from the gym. I woke up today. It's a Friday. I did what I do every morning, prepare for trading, eat, drink coffee, water, hydrate, prepare for the gym, go to the gym, and then most time after the gym now I typically try to record a video because I'm at my highest peak of like physical energy, mental clarity, and simply wouldn't have the most to provide. Think about all the times you go on these dating apps. What is it? It's typically in the middle of the day when you're trying to do a bunch of shit, or it's late at night when you're tired, the most exhausted, so you just want some type of validation. You want someone to think you're cute, you want someone to think you're attractive, you want someone to think you're sexy. And these dating apps, it gives people a false sense of importance. People all of a sudden, the reason why you hear the stupidest shit about nitpicking is a lot of girls, because of just, let's be honest, like, guys will, they will fuck pretty average to unattractive women, even if they are very attractive, just because women have a lot more control of this than most guys. Like, the whole 20% of guys get 80% of the girls thing, like, it's pretty true. If you're really being honest about it, because of online, it gives girls that aren't really in real life application, wouldn't be able to pull a guy like that. It makes it easier. It makes it to where you can provide stuff a lot quicker. You can offer more of your body. You can offer more of yourself when typically that person wouldn't give you in the time of day. But online has kind of closed that gap between average and very above average. And the thing that you realize is you talk, and a lot of people, they talk and they play the same games, they follow the same dating games, they follow the same trying to attract a woman, and they all play the same shit and they get the same results, and then they complain why they haven't found love, or why they haven't attracted the type of woman they want. It's like, one, you're not gonna, like in most cases, you're not gonna find the love of your life on a dating app. And I know there's cases of where people have married someone they met on it and stuff like that. It's not that it's not possible, but realistically, how you meet someone really does matter. Like, there's something about your first conversation and impression of someone is in person. Whether you meet them at your job, which is how most people meet, whether you meet them at, you know, a bar you go to, or a gym, you know, or a common activity at a park, something where you're in an environment where you both actually have shown by having an interest because you were both there, or church if you're religious, because like, okay, we have this common thing, we're both here for a reason. We both find each other interesting or attractive. There's something about that that carries over into the relationship. And when you meet people on dating apps, people get a false sense of their self-importance. That's when you get people that all of a sudden like, you know, they really start caring about the height stuff. Yo, he's 5'10" instead of 6'1". When in real life, that woman's 5'5", she doesn't really care that much. But because she can be hypercritical, or guys like, I need a girl that has this, you know, she has this type of body, this, that, and the other. In real life, if they were to meet that same girl, same personality and everything, it wouldn't be like that. They would give them the time of day, most guys. But it has created this, we have a sense of harshness for no fucking reason. People, because they've been hyper-criticized of what they're not. They have had guys in their past or girls in the past tell them everything they're not. Being criticized, you know, you're not this, you don't do this for me, this, that, and the other. So they carry that bitterness everywhere with them. And what human nature is, you try to get ahead. People would rather hurt other people before getting hurt. Like, if you're someone that has been cheated on, for example, what typically happens is, even if you're not a believer in it, when you start being in a relationship with someone, what happens a lot of times from what I've seen is all of a sudden they start committing the same stuff that happened to them because they feel like it's inevitable. No matter how much better of a person, the person that they're with, no matter how much they've improved on themselves to where they feel more full of themselves and shit like that in a good way. People that have been cheated on a lot, what typically happens is, and when they get into a steady, healthy relationship with someone, they end up doing it because it's almost like a sense of power in a fucked up way. People always want to feel some type of leverage or power in a relationship. And to a certain extent, I would say as a guy, it is very important that you have some type of leverage. And you don't have the leverage to abuse it. You have the leverage so you cannot be taken advantage of. So you are a person that can actually lead in some capacity, right? You never want to be in a situation where you are at mercy of how someone treats you based off your livelihood. Or you rely on someone having to navigate what they say around you because you cannot emotionally handle any type of negativity in some type of way. You know, being emotionally in control of yourself is one of your biggest advantages you have as a guy. But to kind of stay on topic, I think Tinder, Bumble, all these dating apps, they have all created this environment to where people think standards equals harsh criticism. And I don't think people really understand what standards are. If a person likes you, a lot of those over-the-top standards they have that they will tell you at the beginning, you'll notice it subsides over time. Like, oh, you know, I want someone that 6 feet, 6'1" is the minimum. Well, if they really like you and you're 5'10", you know, it's gonna subside over time. You can't do anything about that, right? If she really likes you. And you gotta get over the fact that what people say is important to them versus what is reality versus what they'll actually accept are typically not the same thing. Because you can't just come out here, because people come out here with the highest standard because they feel like inevitably they're gonna have to settle for less. And the word settle is like, people say, I am not gonna settle for less. And in reality, everyone settles in some capacity. And settling does not mean that you're less happy. It just means you'll settle for a little less in certain departments because other departments of a person are much more better. This impossible standard that people have of people, that you've got to fit all these fucking boxes. When in reality, if you fit all these boxes, you're lying. And it will be exposed. Like, when people talk about they have standards, what you really got to listen to what they're saying. What they're saying is I need to have a sense of power in something. Most people don't really have standards like that. Most people, when it comes to who they're with, it's feelings and emotion. What you make them feel. It's not about you fit X, Y, and Z quota. That may be standards they have, like, you're not going to enter my life if you don't have this, but I promise you, in a certain capacity, certain environments, if they're in your environment, that shit doesn't fucking matter. Standards is not, you know, people think the more harsh your standards are, the more quality of an individual you are. And you're really just gatekeeping yourself from meeting amazing people in your life. Criticizing because, oh, he wore socks when like the first time you sleep over at someone's house. He wore socks in bed. Oh, you know, he had toothpaste, and he had like old toothpaste in his sink. He drinks a certain type of water. Like stupid shit like that. Like, the thing as a guy you gotta realize is when women start finding everything that's wrong with you, what they're doing is, one, seeing if you will fold, seeing if you are really what you're about and if you're gonna bend to her will. But also, secondly, they probably don't really like you like that. I hate to break it to you. The more a woman starts critiquing everything you're not, and it's early on in dating, what she's saying is, you got to convince me that you're worthwhile of my time. And what dating has become, from what I can see, is this obsession with, I know my value, I know my worth, I value my time, I value this. Like, every other motherfucker doesn't value their time, and I understand some people don't really value their time, but you get what I'm saying. You all are on a dating app because you are desperate for fucking attention and validation. Don't talk about validating your time. You're willing to meet a fucking stranger that lives 40 minutes away just because you want someone to tell you how pretty you are. Or because you want someone to tell you how, you know, how amazing and appreciated as a guy you would be with me, you know? All y'all are suckers. If you are on a dating app these days, you know, just acknowledge that you're not on it to actually find connection. The more desperate you are to be in a relationship, or even desperate for attention, desperate for affection, that is where you are lost, in my opinion. To me, that's a bigger sign that you will never find what you're looking for in life. Then to actually just go about your life, put yourself in environments, be happy. Everywhere you go, just be a genuinely happy person that people will gravitate to, that can provide value in a legitimate fashion, where you'll attract what you actually want to attract, and not versus a presentation. Because really what dating apps are now, they're basically LinkedIn profiles. You gotta have your resume on there. You gotta talk about, you know, what you do for work. You gotta talk about, you know, this, that, and the other, just to be worth some people's times. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know. If you're legitimate about dating someone, like, yeah, you know, you should. If you care about the financial stuff, there's nothing wrong with caring about this stuff. You don't want to be with someone that has no potential financially or anything like that, you know. But there's a lot of people that can fit quotas for you, and they can fit standards, and they don't make you feel nothing. So you sometimes in life, when people talk about settling, they're saying, okay, I can either be with someone that fits certain things on paper, whether they have a good job, they make a decent living, they, a certain height, they have certain color eyes, they have certain things that, oh, he plays pickleball and all this stuff, he's a good guy on paper. But when you hang out, it's just like, it doesn't move the needle one way or the other. Like, they don't make you feel extra amazing about yourself, but they never make you feel bad. They play a good part, but they're never really themselves. They're never really willing to be themselves and have their true selves truly be offered to you, and you know that. And what it has created is you could be a guy or a girl that fits a quota, and then there's a guy that doesn't have half of those qualities, but when they're around her, well, when she's around him, they feel everything else that you don't make them feel. And that's where cheating comes into place, kids. Because it's more, women will tell you it's all about money and shit, and they got to do that to put some type of standards, because if a girl says she'll just accept anything, she's going to get a bad reputation. She's looked at as easy, as someone that will sleep with anyone, as someone that has no quote-unquote barrier of entry of, her kingdom, So it makes sense for a lot of women, they're going to have these excessive standards, and you just got to looking flat out ignore them. And just like, hey, I don't care about what's on this list. When you're around me, how you actually react, how we communicate, how we quote-unquote vibe, that's what's going to actually really dictate whether we do something or not. Whatever that something is. But then there's a lot of guys online where it's a lot of complaining, man. It's about, oh, men going their own way, or oh, I'm never dating again. They're like a 28-year-old guy who had their first really bad breakup, and all of a sudden, I'm never dating again. I'm just gonna focus on myself. All I'm gonna do is just make money and just do my own thing and be this miserable fuck and all this shit. And I'm not saying you need to pursue women or be with women. It's quite the opposite. You should create an infiltration of life where this stuff happens naturally. That's the whole point of this shit. Stop artificially seeking out connection. Connection is built naturally. Y'all will let a whole algorithm dictate how you view the world. I'm starting to hear raindrops. It was not supposed to fucking rain today. But a lot of y'all will let an algorithm dictate what you feel about women, what you feel about the world, how you feel like a victim of shit. But you will let an algorithm do that for you. But you will not actually build your own connection with yourself in reality. Because of all the stuff you see online, everyone feels like the worst inevitably is going to happen when they meet someone. The worst is going to happen. Even when someone you're happy with, you have any type of maybe distance or things kind of slow down, maybe the puppy love stuff is over, and it's like, now you have to actually get to know each other. And you actually have to like do the work, as they say. And then you start thinking about, this and that, should I like seek out my options online? Everyone's telling me like I need to fucking like put myself out there, and that I need to, always keep my options open. I need to be a guy of value. I need to be a guy that, never lets a woman know that I loves them so much, because that's a disadvantage, that's a sign of weakness, and blah blah blah. And although yes, like, there is validity to some of this stuff, in the sense of if you put all your value based off what a woman thinks about you, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Doing that with anyone, I don't care who it is. It could be your friend, your parents, your family, whoever. That's a dangerous fucking game you're playing. But with that being said, it's immensely, and I mean immensely, important that you maintain some type of human connection in a legitimate, natural way in real life application. Like, online algorithm is a disease. Think about, like, you're literally putting an algorithm in your hands to decide who you're gonna meet up next week. Think about how crazy that is. You're basically, at that point, you can't talk about you're in a dominant position. You let an algorithm dictate who the fuck you should match up with. Think about that. Instead of going to the environments to be like, I want to be around this type of woman, which typically you can go to certain environments and you can find the type of woman you're looking for at that point in time. So I think just as a dating culture, you know, I'm not part of the dating culture, but I'm tired of like the stuff in the algorithm, the obsession about men complaining about women. I'm tired of women talking about men don't meet all these standards, when in reality, you attract what you attract. If you're constantly attracting the same type of people, look at yourself. It's really that fucking simple. And being more harsh, treating people like they're just transactional PayPal transfers. Yeah, and I'm not talking about literally money. I'm talking about, hey, what can you do for me? It's like, that's not really how you get to know someone, that actually, for them, to bring value to you. The reason why everyone has their guard up, so nothing ends up productive happening. Nothing productive happens. Dudes have their guard up, women have their guard up, and you never actually get to know anyone because guys are trying to be mysterious and interesting, not giving too much themselves. Women are trying to act like, being very distant. I don't even know what women act like, when it comes to that stuff. But I'll put it like this, man. To keep it simple for you, like, when a woman has interest in you, it's gonna be pretty obvious. And so for guys, if she's not interested in you, it's gonna be pretty obvious, and she's gonna let you down easy in a lot of ways. But we treat people transactional, and always, if the second, like, there's any discomfort, it's always, we gotta, well, I know I have this backup plan, or I know that I'm not really gonna invest my time into this person. And there's nothing wrong with accepting, like, I don't feel it from this person. But dating has become more about what's convenient in the moment, in that time frame, than it is actually about really what it's about, which is connection. It all feels transactional, so everyone gets what they get out of it.